all of the cream shades have those like little bubble dots in it that look like the shade has something in it, but really all that is from the pouring. Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me here today for this video, which is going to be my week of first impressions with the Huda Beauty Pretty Grunge palette. I have this beautiful little palette in my hands finally. It was quite an ordeal to get to me. It was smashed to bits when I received it. Okay, if that's not the absolutely most beautiful Huda palette I've ever seen, I don't know what is. I was trying to avoid this palette. In all honesty, I was trying to avoid this palette, but the more I saw photos of it and a couple of videos, as soon as I saw a couple of videos with this palette and all the photos coming across my feed, I decided to go ahead and pick it up on the very last day of the Sephora sale, and I'm so glad that I did. I had to wait for it to get mailed because all the local stores were sold out because I hesitated. Had I picked it up the first day when I ordered it, instead of canceling my pickup order, I would have had this palette 8 days ago. Whatever, it's fine. So today I'm going to create the very first look, and I'm kind of in a hurry. I've got to go do some things and I've got to get out the door. So I'm just going to create a really pretty first impressions look. I'm not going to go too wild or anything with the eye. I'm going to start off with my paint pot in Painterly. So I'm going to do multiple looks with this palette and wear each look each day so I can really report how the palette performs, how the shadows last for me, etc. Because I don't have the best natural lighting going on today, it's a super gloomy day, I did have to turn on some light so that I can see the palette and see the colors that I'm working with. Okay, I don't want to mess up the palette, it's so pretty. I'm going to take this lightest matte right here, mid-tone. I feel like this color here is going to be a little bit darker than I'm anticipating, but that's the color I'm going to start off with. First touch. Now it's either the eye base or maybe I'm just starting to get more creases because I've been doing eyeshadow for longer and longer, and you know, I feel like going in with all these layers and then trying to remove the makeup at the end of the day is causing more creasing than I used to have. Okay. Oh, it's a pretty color. Really soft. Thankfully, it is closer to what it looks like in the pan than I anticipated. I thought it was going to be like really dark, but it's really pretty. It's a beautiful, like, one and done shade for an office look. I think that's what I liked about this palette so much, is that it does look really fun, but essentially it's a neutral palette with a couple of like deeper shades, which I appreciate. And it's like a fun looking neutral shade. I mean, neutral palette. So I was really drawn to it. And as I mentioned in the video where I'm getting dressed to go buy this palette, it just really, or to go replace it because I got a broken one is what happened. This palette really just is like the closest thing that I think Huda Beauty is gonna do as far as my perfect palette. Now this palette would be more like my perfect palette if it didn't have that cream shade in the corner. I'm not really into these cream shades. Like, I haven't even touched any of the Patrick Ta ones. Maybe if I use it, I would be into the shade though. So, I mean, I am going to try to use it for one of the looks this week because I do want to check it out. And we checked several of the palettes in store, me and the employees, when I picked up this replacement. All of the cream shades have those like little bubble dots in it that look like the shade has something in it, but really all that is from the pouring it and letting the formula set. You know, it creates that like last little drip, and so that's to be expected. So I am getting a little bit of kick up here in the palette. As you can see, it's a little powdery, but it's a beautiful payoff, and and it's not overly powdery to where I feel like I'm getting any fallout. So that's a really pretty shade. That's actually a gorgeous one and done eyeshadow. I would be really happy with that for work. So like, let's say for like work. Okay, I'm gonna just take a clean, huge fluffy blender and blend this out on the edges before I get any further. I'm gonna try to keep it more like the blender focused more on the outer edges so that my crease stays a little bit darker, but the outer edges are a little more faded. Okay, I really like the way that blended out. Really, really like this palette so far. I know it's been one shade, but I did not like the Mercury Retrograde palette, which was my very first and only Huda Beauty palette that I've ever tried before. I did not like that palette. I felt like the formula was just not that great and really overrated. And yeah, anyway, we'll see how I feel about this one. I don't know what direction I'm gonna take this look. I feel like this is set up in basically like rows of 6. Like there's basically 3 eye looks. There's one look there, one look there, and one look here. You know, like, yeah, because I like to use 6 shades. Now, some of them are super intense, but I do feel like that's how the color stories are vibing. What do I want to do now? I'm going to take this darker shade here in the bottom corner from the same row that that first matte is in, and I'm going to just try to smoke out this out. Oh, it's so pretty. There's a lot of payoff, and it's kind of a purpley deep. It's like a purple brown, of course. All of Huda Beauty browns, like in my experience, tend to lean a little bit mauve, however you want to say it, tend to lean a little bit like with a hint of plum purple base, a little bit more in that vein. And honestly, you would think that that would make me like the palettes more because I do really like those shades. But for me, when I'm looking at a brown shade, I want it to have a brown tone. If I was wanting a mauve tone, I would go for a mauve matte, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what I didn't like about the Mercury Retrograde. Now for this one, I do like the way this kind of purpley undertone of this brown looks. I mean, I do really like it. It's really pretty. So, all right. I got that a little bit too high on my, see how this one I got it up and this one I stayed a little bit lower. I do like to take my dark shade up just a little bit like that so that I can create like a lift in my eye looks. Especially as I've gotten older, I've noticed that that just helps to open up my eye and lift my whole like section right here when people are looking at me from afar or when I'm looking at myself from afar. So that's like the look that I want to present to people from afar. That's what I meant. Anyway, okay, I need more of a pointed brush because this is not wanting to stay in my corner. I'm going to take this little bitty Rephr Mini 14, which I'm currently using the 13. It's a little bit too thick and not pointed enough to get this into my outer corner. This mini set is exactly what I needed for my outer edge and my hooded eyes. I absolutely am loving this Rephr mini set. There we go, look at that. Perfect, I love the way that looks. We're 2 shades in, guys. 2 shades in and my look is literally almost done. What a beautiful palette. I cannot wait to create all the rest of the looks this week. I feel like I'm really gonna enjoy this palette. Once I get through using and really getting to know all of my holiday palettes, I am going to rank all of the holiday releases from this year that I've picked up. And I'm gonna try to do that here like pretty quickly before the end of November so that for Black Friday sales, that video will be ready. So I hope that will be helpful. All right, oh my God, I absolutely love the way those two blended together. Look at that. Calm down, Michelle. I'm just really glad that I'm loving this palette so far because I haven't had a good time with the one Huda Beauty palette that I had before. So this one I'm really liking. I do feel like the shimmers are a little limited. And that's kind of funny that for me, I would like even be complaining about that because I'm not really a shimmer kind of girl usually. I kind of wish that I had like a golden shimmer. All of the shimmers over there are just so dark. That's kind of the problem. I think what I'm going to do is just put this beige, like peach light shade in my inner corner with a Rephr 12. I absolutely love this Rephr 12 for right there. You see that? Perfect. That one was powdery and I felt like it went in my mouth. Yeah. Okay, that was a little bit too peach for my inner corner. I should have left it with just the Painterly paint pot there in the inner corner and done this just on the lid, but here we are. It did provide some brightness though, so since I have that little pop of brightness there, I'm gonna go ahead and take a shader and let's just see what this shimmer here looks like. Okay, we're gonna take this shimmer that's kind of close to this light shade and let's just see if they work together. I'm not gonna use any glitter glue or anything, nothing like flaked off when I tapped off the brush. So, and it feels like a creamy shimmer. So I'm gonna do one eye with this shader brush. It's a Hakuhodo shader brush. You know, you can use any shader brush, but and I'm gonna do the other eye with my finger and let's just see the difference. Oh, that's freaking gorgeous. Oh my God. I'm so glad I chose that shimmer. Look at that. That was literally the absolute perfect shimmer that brought the look together. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pick that one up with my finger for the other side. And yeah, it is really creamy. Let's see how it applies. Oh, so much more intense, but I can't be as precise is the problem. So which one do you think looks better? The one with my finger, less precision and more impact, or the one that's more precise but a lot less impact? Let me know. I'm curious. I'm gonna go ahead and try to just tap a little bit extra here. Wow, I really like the way that looked. Wow. Okay, that's a gorgeous eye look. I absolutely love this palette already. All right, now I'm gonna take that little mini Rephr 14 that I had used in my outer corner and hold on, I'm actually not because I wanna see what this shade looks like all by itself. So I'm gonna use this Rephr 03 and I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try this like mauve shade here on the lower lash line. I feel like that is barely noticeable, but it does add just a little something, and it's a really beautiful like hue. The shade, the tone of the shade is really pretty for under my eyes. It doesn't provide too much like gray look. It doesn't go purple gray to where it makes my eye bags look like deeper. It actually is just like a really nice soft shaded look. I really like that tone for the lower lash line. I am going to go in with a slightly deeper one, the one next to it here in the corner that I had used to smoke out the outer edge. I'm going to just take that here on the tip of the bottom of the brush and we'll just add a little bit here. I do feel that really flaking up into my eye, so that was my bad for not tapping off. That's not good. Don't be getting that shit in your eye. What the hell got on my face? Something. I got some eyeshadow on my face or something. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, so lastly, I'm going to take a little bit of that peach shade up here in the brow bone just to kind of highlight it a little bit. And then I would say the look is done. All right, so that's the eyeshadow look. Let me add some eyeliner and mascara and I'll be right back to show you the completed look. Okay, here's the finished eye look with the eyeliner and mascara. Let's take a really good look at it up close. These are the mascaras that I used to finish it off, and these are the eyeliners that I used. Be sure to look down in the description box. I'll have each of the full face of makeup products listed for each of the looks, and this is look number 1. So yeah, let me take a good look at it because I haven't actually taken a good look at it. I really, really love the eye look. Oh my gosh, I have a feeling that this is going to end up being one of my favorite palettes, and maybe I'll finally be able to get on the Huda Beauty train. Like, all my friends love her palettes, and I've just never ever liked, like, I hadn't had a good experience with one. So maybe this will be the one that finally won me over. Anyhow, I'm really excited to see what the rest of the week's looks come out like. That was really hard to say. Yeah, I've got some errands to run, so I'm gonna go, but here's the first look of the week. And yeah, the next look I'll do tomorrow, but for you, that's coming up now. I'm popping on to go ahead and end the video now. I know I had said that I was going to do multiple looks with this beautiful palette, but as I was putting on the eye look earlier in this video, I was struck with an immediate headache. And I thought to myself, it's probably the synthetic ingredients in this palette, because I almost didn't buy this palette because of the synthetic, because I almost didn't buy this palette because I saw the synthetic ingredients listed in the ingredient list. That's one of the reasons why I haven't bought any of the Danessa Myricks palettes, and a lot of the indie palettes also. They have synthetic ingredients. Synthetic ingredients are toxic to our immune system. And a lot of people aren't incredibly sensitive to it until like repeated exposure. But those of us who have already experienced a level of sensitivity due to our immune system, you know, having some issues or whatever, like our immune doesn't tolerate, it won't tolerate the junk basically in the palettes, like other people's will try to tolerate a little bit. Long story short, I'm sorry if the camera is crooked and everything, but long story short, I wasn't planning on filming this kind of an outro. I was thinking I was going to do looks with this palette all week. I don't even want to open it and expose myself to like smelling the air of it or whatever. I'm not going to use that palette anymore because of the synthetic ingredients. I'm sure that's why I had that headache, because, you know, I thought to myself, I'm probably just, you know, imagining things. I was hoping that I was just imagining things. So I went on and just finished the look and then took off because I had to go run some errands. And throughout those errands, I just started getting more and more nauseated. Like my head just started hurting more and more. And I started getting like a little bit dizzy to the point that I thought I was going to throw up. And I was just like, geez, what is wrong? So I came home and was like, I figured I needed to wash my makeup off to see if that would help stop my headache. So I came home and washed off all of my makeup. Instead of just taking off the eye look, I washed off all of my makeup just in case there was any like powder that had fluffed around or anything like that. I washed off all my makeup and took it all off, and literally within a couple of minutes of taking the eyeshadow off and like my face drying and just, you know, like my body starting to come to or whatever, realizing that the shit was off my eyes, my headache started to dissipate. And within 10 to 15 minutes of having removed the eyeshadow and washing off my makeup, my headache went away. So I was kind of thinking, at first I was thinking I would try again tomorrow and see if I get struck with another headache. when I put the palette on, but I've decided against that. I'm not going to expose myself to toxic ingredients just for a beautiful color story and for a palette that I really want to be able to enjoy and play with. It's just not worth it. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video now, and I'm probably going to return this palette because even with the purchase of it through the Sephora savings sale, like the Sephora's, even through the Sephora sale with a 20% discount, this is still a very expensive palette. So yeah, that was a big fail for me. This palette is a huge miss simply because of the synthetic ingredients that are toxic and my body just isn't tolerating. So there's my full thoughts. I am sorry to share, you know, that bad, sad ending or whatever, but I'm not gonna create any more looks with this palette. I did really, really like the way that the look turned out. I thought it looked beautiful, but it's just not worth it to me. It's not worth it to me to endanger my health. So I'm gonna wash my makeup brushes that have that stuff on it instead of letting them get like close to anything else. So I'm gonna wash my makeup brushes off and return this palette. But yeah, so that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you at least enjoyed part of it or found this helpful in some kind of way. If you did, please be sure to click the thumbs up button. If you did, please be sure to click the like button. It really does help my channel out so much. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel so I can see you in my next video. Bye.